Hickok 45 here. Welcome to the Hickok 45 Talks channel. That's where you are. Well, you're on the internet, you're on YouTube, and this video might have popped up, probably not likely, but you would have to go, I would imagine, to the Talks channel to find these, to find this brilliance. Another topic someone wanted me to talk about is my basketball experience and career and all that kind of thing. Wanted to give me a chance to brag. Well, I don't know, there's a little bit maybe to brag about, not a lot. I was a big fish in a little pond, or however you want to say it. I had my days of a little bit of glory playing basketball. Obviously, not too big, or you'd know me. You'd know me, some of you, if I were Larry Bird, right? But so we moved around a fair amount, back and forth, around Boone County, Grant County when I was younger and in high school, and I just never did get started playing basketball. We'd play around on the just dirt court outside, messing around, that kind of thing. Even when we lived on the farm, we always had a goal up, and where I could develop bad habits and that kind of thing. But I was used to messing around with the ball, but that was about it. I didn't know the rules of playing or anything. There weren't as many games on TV back then, in the 50s and stuff. But in the course of all that moving around, I didn't get started. I almost did as a sophomore out in Grant County, and I just didn't. But when we moved back to Boone County, I was a junior in high school. And in that summer, I went with my cousin to a meeting because he was a player at Boone County High School, and I just went to a meeting, see what it was about. I was kind of afraid to play on a team. I just hadn't done it before. I was probably 6'5" or something at the time, but so anyway, the coach saw me and talked to me, and you can imagine someone going into their junior year at 6'5", they'd want to know more about you. Whether you could walk and chew gum at least at the same time, and didn't know me from Adam. He took me into the gym. I think we went down after that meeting and saw a film and someone talked, and John McLaughlin, yeah. And then he was wanting to see me throw a ball up on the backboard and catch it and put it in the goal, some things like that, just to see if I was a total dork or not. And I remember after I did that, what he said, throw it up on the board and then go up and catch it and put it in or shoot it back in the goal, some things like that, or just keep it alive on the backboard, just coordination test. And then I remember him telling me, okay, he said, how would you like to go to college on a scholarship? He said, we can do that, So in other words, he expressed a lot of confidence in me, just from that, And so I played, but I had no experience, and there were a lot of good players on that team, and I played junior varsity almost exclusively my junior year in high school. So I didn't even play varsity except occasionally, get in a game. But I was always working at it, working hard, and kind of enjoyed it. It was a new experience, and then that summer I went to camp, and then I stayed on the court, outside court, shooting and working, and didn't have formal stuff like there is now, and even long before now, training programs really. But I just stayed with a basketball in my hand most of that summer. And by the time my senior year rolled around, then of course I started, and I did pretty well for a big goofball, and had some good games. I had some attention from colleges. 8 or 10, just enough to make it confusing, and ended up, it was very confusing, because my dad had not gone through that, and nobody in my family, and no one I knew. I had no peers that had really gone through that, of coaches calling and coming by the house and all that kind of thing. And again, it was just, it wasn't like some of these guys, 30 schools trying to get them and all that kind of thing. I just had a handful, 7, 8, whatever. And I had lots of contacts from some that didn't follow up on, just letters or whatever, but enough that were very interested, a handful that were very interested, that just made it very, very confusing, because I was just a dumb kid and really naive, and changed my mind about where to go. And I finally ended up going to Western Carolina as a freshman. They talked me into that down there. I visited the school for a week. I really liked it down there in the mountains. And as they said, that was a conference at that time where I could play. It was a Southern Conference. I could play varsity as a freshman. In most places, Division I guess you had to play on the freshman team as a freshman. And there I did not. And they used that as a big drawing card. As far as I was concerned, I couldn't see myself playing varsity. But so did I play any freshman? I don't think I played any freshman there. By the time the season rolled around, I was a reserve on the varsity as a freshman at Western Carolina, and it was pretty exciting. And I enjoyed it. Coach Jim Gudger, he's passed now, but he was an interesting guy, kind of like Red Auerbach. He had a cigar in his mouth all the time, and we did all kinds of neat drills and things that really helped me with ball handling and things we didn't do in high school. My high school coach was really old school. If you were one of the big guys, you weren't supposed to be dribbling the ball or whatever. But it really helped me, my all-around play and shooting, and it was kind of a new experience. It let me shoot from 15, 20, 25 feet, because I had shot a lot, and I could shoot pretty well and really developed it as a freshman. So anyway, it was really exciting because just before Christmas, didn't play that many games before Christmas, but a game or two before Christmas, I worked my way into a starting position. And then I started, I guess, the whole season, And I remember the first game where I got double figures. I think it was Appalachian State, at their court, and it was really exciting. And worked my way up. And then I wasn't like a powerhouse or anything, but I had a few good games. And well, anyway, the coach left. As soon as the season was over, he left, and he was why I went. I loved him. I thought he was great and all that. And so I thought about transferring out where he was going to East Texas State, and I went out there and didn't like it. And I had offers from Austin Peay back when I was in high school. So I called the coach at Austin Peay, George Fisher, and said, "You still interested in me? I think I want to transfer." And I did, and I went there and was redshirted that year to catch up because I just went to 2 quarters at Western Carolina. And so that was really good for me, being a redshirt that year, getting beat up on the suicide squad and all these big guys and these different things. And by the time I was actually a sophomore basketball-wise, I was chomping at the bit to play, and I set the school rebounding record my first game, single game and gym record and all that. I mean, I still got chip bones in my elbows from that game, just coming down. I mean, I was a madman, really. I was so anxious. It'd been so long since I'd played in a real college game. But anyway, I had a pretty good year. I had I averaged 18, 20 points for a couple of years and all that. And rebounded well. I led the OVC, and I know in rebounding for a while, then someone surpassed me. But I was decent in that conference as a rebounder and a scorer and everything. And I got discouraged between my junior, senior year basketball-wise, and coaching changes, and didn't even make all OVC. And here I was hoping I'd play pro ball, and I just got kind of discouraged over some things that I didn't understand, really. As usual, you're kind of naive and dumb when you're 19, 20. And I just got, I don't know, fed up with some of it, and I just didn't play my last year. Yeah, I didn't. And this is after, I've always been kind of independent, I guess, but I mean, I'm not on the floor. I mean, I was very coachable. I was known as being very, very coachable, and I was, but that didn't mean I was going to play if I didn't want to, things got so silly. But some of the most significant things I remember, I had lots of great games, that kind of thing. I had 37 points in one game against Western Kentucky. I remember some different things like that. Had my moments. Had a few bad games too. But boy, the thing that really sticks in my mind, I went to my mailbox in the student center one day, just like at the post office there, and opened it up and pulled out an envelope. And it was, I guess the first one was it was the Chicago Bulls. You know, it was a letter from them, and a questionnaire indicating that their scouts had determined that I might have the capability of playing in the National Basketball Association, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. You know, and I've still got those. And I fill out the questionnaire, send it back to them, you know, contact information, all that kind of thing. And you could have knocked me over with a feather. I got one of those from Phoenix Suns as well. I also had one from the Boston Celtics, but it was through the coaching office. It didn't come directly to me. Now, before you get excited, this is the days before Michael Jordan and Larry Bird. This is in what would have been 71, 2, you know, along in there. But anyway, that was kind of a highlight moment, and wow. And so anyway, I kind of had my hopes up, but then I don't know, it seemed like it wasn't anything that was going to happen. I got fed up with the way things were going on the team and the craziness, and I just said, I'm done. Yeah, and it was. So that was kind of my experience with basketball. You know, I've always given whatever I'm doing, I try to give it 100% or 120%, whatever it is. And it had always been very, very coachable. It's one thing that helped me get the scholarship. You know, my high school coach he always passed that along, and they'd brag on me all the time because I was so coachable. I don't know if that's a positive thing or negative thing, but when it was over, it was over. You know, and I've been that way with in my career. Whoever I've worked for, I go the extra mile. I'm there first, man. And I in the morning, and I try to do whatever is needed to be done, and jump in there and get after things, and achieve excellence at whatever I'm doing. But then again, I have no qualms about walking away. You know, if I don't feel like I'm being respected, or if it's just a situation that's gone downhill, then okay, I've been here, done this enough. I'm moving on. That's kind of what I did with basketball. I mean, trying to be pretty objective, I probably could, if I'd stuck with it, I probably could have played somewhere in the NBA as a reserve at least for a year or two. You know, I could have had a chance. I might have gotten drafted somewhere. I didn't know how all that worked. This stuff wasn't all on TV back then. If I know what I know now, maybe after a couple of years away from it, I'd have gotten back in. Well, I stayed in pretty good shape, and I would just gone around and tried out or something, maybe just for kicks. But I needed to strengthen up some, but I had a great shot, pretty great shot for back then. Guys my size weren't necessarily as many of us shooters, and I had a nice soft touch and everything. But from some distance, I probably could have gotten on a team. I might have played a little bit. I might have been reserve. I don't know. It's hard to know. The NBA is so competitive. If you've played basketball, you've known people that maybe you've played against that got to the NBA, or they didn't make it in the NBA, and you're amazed because they were like world beaters on the court. You've probably seen that if you've ever played. I've seen that. And it's those people, those guys at that level, even back in the 70s, you know, whatever, they are so far beyond the best players that you ever played against. You know, it's hard to imagine. So that's why, just objectively speaking, there's no way I'd have been like a really great player or something, I don't think. But not that I wouldn't have tried. But I might have played as a you know, I don't know, 10th man, 12th man, you know, on a team for a couple of years, and maybe I'd have worked my way up. Maybe I wouldn't have. Might have gotten fed up with that. Yeah, I don't know. But anyway, that's kind of my basketball career. I got started really late, a junior in high school, but I developed very, very quickly, considering that, you know, and I was very motivated. It was all new to me, and I worked my butt off, and I made a lot of progress just in 2 or 3 years. I got stronger, my shot and rebounding, just movement and everything. And one thing I had good eye-hand coordination, and just was born with that, I think. And then also I could run, you know. And at that time, a lot of the big guys, I was like 6'8", 6'9", were a little bit slow getting up and down the court sometimes, unless you got to the elite players. But I could run, man. I could run. I could get up and down that floor. And those kinds of things are what helped me when I played. So, am I bragging? I don't mean to be bragging. When you get to be a certain age, you kind of know yourself. I know my weaknesses. I know my strengths. I look at my basketball or whatever I'm doing. I know my weaknesses and my strengths, and you can look at yourself a little bit more objectively once you get to be 40, 50, 60, 70 years old, But anyway, that's kind of it. I spent a lot of hours in a gym with a basketball. Whew, shooting my life away. My gosh, the hours I have spent throwing leather at a net and a rim, and the hours I have spent slinging lead and copper. Wow, if I had all those hours back, and all the hours I have spent slinging lead and leather, if I had spent that time, even half of it, studying, I could have been smarter than Elon Musk. I guarantee it. Life is good.